Welcome back. The Life Esidimeni tragedy will forever be a shameful part of South Africa's democratic history. 144 mentally ill patients died when they were moved to unregistered NGOs by the Gauteng Health Department. Now, tomorrow is Mental Health Action Day, and it will be marked by the launch of a Life Esidimeni online memorial and advocacy project. It's a collaboration between Section 27, the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, and the South African Society of Psychiatrists. For more on the project, I'm joined by Section 27's Head of Health, Sasha Stevenson. Sasha, thanks for your time. Let's start with the basics here. Tell us more about the Life Esidimeni Online Memorial and Advocacy Project.
Well, thank you. The project is really a way of making sure that the information that we know about, the stories of families who lost loved ones in the disaster, and more information about mental health and where to get help is available online. It's important that we don't forget these things, that stories are told, but also moving forward that people are able to access the services that they need. And so that's what this online memorial is all about. It's about looking backwards so that we can do better moving forwards.
Yeah. And let's talk about the photos that are being put up. I was reading about the moments that these pics were taken of the victims of this massacre and how important it was to the families.
It's really important to all of the families to have this ongoing memorial and to recognize how present in each of their lives their deceased loved ones are. It was the arbitration was an important process for the purposes of closure and for finding out more information, but of course nothing can ever take away that loss, and so this was a way of reflecting on that, of telling the story in a way that people can understand it. And as I say, of holding on to those stories so that this kind of thing isn't repeated again.
Yeah, and of course you are linked with several other organizations with this project. The aim, of course, is about mental health overall. What can people, and I'm talking about South Africans in general here, you don't necessarily have to be diagnosed with having a mental health issue at any point. What can people, ordinary citizens, gain from going online and going through the website and looking through the project?
Well, I think firstly it's important for everybody in the country to know the story and to see the story from the perspective of the people who experienced loss. So I think it's a really human and personal tribute to the people who died in this tragedy and indeed also to the people who survived. But it also importantly has information about mental illness in South Africa. 1 in 3 people in South Africa will have or do have some kind of mental health issue at some point in their lives, and yet only 1 in 10 people are actually able to get help for those issues. And so we've got a really huge unmet need for mental health care services. And very importantly, the website also includes contact details, who to contact in different kinds of circumstances, the phone numbers of departments of health across the country, of the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, which is an incredible organization that really operates the main toll-free number for accessing mental health care services in the country, and other organizations who provide similar services. So whether it's people who are needing help or reporting issues, there are contact details on that website that people will be able to use to reach out when they need to.
Yeah, and lastly, of course, there is a formal inquest that will be held in July. Section 27 has been pushing for this to happen. Just tell us more about that.
That's right. It's something we've been pushing for a long time because the arbitration was important for finding out more information, for getting some kind of relief for the families, which it did. But what it doesn't do is determine the legal cause of death. And the legal cause of death is a combination of what the postmortem says, if indeed there was a postmortem, and the circumstances of the death. And a judge or a magistrate, in this case a judge, in an inquest is able to look at all of the evidence that exists and decide whether there may have been any criminal act or omission that led to that death. So it's not a criminal prosecution, but it's really a prior step. And it's a really important prior step for so many of our clients who are frustrated by the fact that while there has been important state accountability and acknowledgement and recognition of the actions or inaction of the state in this case. There hasn't been that individual accountability and in some cases criminal accountability. So that's part of what we are preparing for now in the inquest, which, as you say, will be starting on the 19th of July.